Hello and welcome back to Raging Loop. I'm Luce, and last time we completed one story path, but only the one. We have unlocked the key that will allow us to continue other story paths. And given the nature of this game, I'm willing to guess that it's not going to be so easy as, okay, we just have to remember who the wolves and rolls were last time and have them deal with that here. No. I'm pretty confident the game's going to get messed with in a few ways, and most notably including the killers being changed around, so we're going to have to figure out how that goes. Plus, I highly doubt that the reveal at the end of the last story is, well, the full truth. I mean, sure, the story the wolves gave made sense, but it's not, first of all, it's not from an exactly unbiased source, and also, there's definitely a lot more to it. I mean, yeah, we did find out the truth behind Chamey, but at the same time, she also kind of admitted to it a good while earlier. Especially with her mention that it might actually want it to happen this time. So we'll have to figure that out a bit more as we go along. Now, I can't be blocking everyone's portraits, so... Oop. And of course, we still need to figure out the truth behind the title necklace here. I highly doubt that's there just for fun aesthetic purposes. Let us continue on. The infiltration route. Something goes strange and natural and incomprehensible to the rest of the city. Alright, so we now know that turning back is instant death. It's like the wolf eyes. It does seem that way, doesn't it? But we only had 2 last time. Chamey directly stated that the number of diamonds is the number of wolves, and they have to have the little spiral pattern side because that specifically refers to wolves returning from Yomi. It's not like the regular wolf diamonds from Fujiyoshi. So I guess by this point we need to decide, do we want to enter through the normal route or just pass by? If we go by the normal route, that might reduce suspicion, because a lot of people didn't seem to have any bad feelings about the journalists because they drove by. I guess it could lead to death. As I finished my drink, the dad was barely different from turning around leaving. Maybe I could pass it by. I was curious what would happen if I ignored Yasumizu Fujiyoshi and the clerk's warning and simply drove past. Wait, why would anything happen? I just continue down the road, right? Why'd I feel so uneasy then? After thinking for a moment, I've arrived at the mindset of eliminating whatever option seems wrong. My guess is this wouldn't take care of the root of the problem, but I was the type who wouldn't believe it until I tried myself. Yeah, our character is the embodiment of curiosity killed the cat, isn't it? I turned the key, opened the throttle, pushed the signal left, and collected the clutch. And away I went, starting with a right turn. The tense mountain path continued for a while. Though I didn't feel like falling asleep, I was definitely becoming more and more exhausted, both mentally and physically. Even in this jacket, the force of wind going by was doing a number on my body, especially as I went onward for over an hour. I did, however, see a sign above my head that said Fujiyoshi. As I decided, I just passed it by, never coming close to Kami Fujiyoshi or Yasumizu. Now I just passed the 2 mountains and reached the town that I was told about. Perhaps I should have been more suspicious about the fact that I stopped acting on my heart after that. Maybe I was just so tired I couldn't make such decisions. I could only remember noticing a strangely dense mist. That was when my brain lost all capacity for perception or judgment. I guess that's functionally the same as... Bad ending number 7. Watch the hint corner. Yeah, let's see what our buddy Sheep has to say. Well, you've done it yet again, eh, Chief? Alright, let's get this over with. I like how cheeky this guy is. Mysterious passing by death. Alright, well, we do have confirmation now. We can't go back, nor can we go past, which is functionally similar in that it attempts to avoid the problem completely. Well, this is yet another ending you checked for the heck of it, just to make sure that it just wasn't possible. He is very good at calling us out, isn't he?
9、進路を決めよに戻って素直に選ぶが吉ってとこだな。
Unfortunately, running away is not an option. Go back to 4. He doesn't even give the explanation stuff. He does. Yeah, as you're very keenly aware, running away is not an option, and this kind of just proves it, as you were probably expecting.
よし、今回はここまで。次も元気に死んでこい。
You know, it's not a major thing, but I do appreciate that there's a number of bad ends that don't result in keys, just because they're a case of, okay, so that even if they are basically just sheepy going, okay, you did the dumb thing, and the dumb thing killed you. I imagine you expected this, so I don't really have much advice. But yeah, it is nice that we don't, that some of these are just opt-in just for the heck of it.
そういう夢だったってわけだ。
Oh, guess it was just a dream, right? It's skipping now. Alright, so the U-turn and pass-by are not possible. We must go in through the normal, expected route. Alright, so we know both of these result in death. As I finished my drink, I made my decision. I'd return. I'd face the tragedy again. Of course, I was curious about this looping phenomenon, but I did recall what I thought during my final moments. It was something like if only I'd handled this better. And for better or for worse, this looping phenomenon had given me a chance to do just that. Yeah, I mentioned it to some friends, but I want to mention it here on stream here. During the last ending, the more I thought about it, the more I realized that last feast deliberation was 100% not capable of being won, no matter what I'd argued. Even if we said, hey, that person hadn't been... Hey, Granny hadn't been speaking up at all. Mighty sus. And even if the last human agreed, well, that's only 2 votes, Chamie and Kyo against her. She's obviously not voting for herself. Yasu had absolutely every reason to make sure that vote was wasted. Sorry about that. Hopefully this being a recap will make it a bit less of a problem. But yeah. He didn't miss much. It was just making a recap. But basically, I mentioned it to a few people. I want to make it on stream here that, yeah, that last one was not winnable. Well, we could have just, even if we said, hey, Tay has been speaking, that's mighty suspicious. Chamie and Kyo agreeing wouldn't have been enough, because Tay's not voting for herself. Yasu has every reason to want that vote wasted. Haru will vote for Yasu no matter what, even if he at the time didn't realize just how far she'd go for him. And of course, Mako just can't comprehend anything that's going on, period. So, and even if she had, that would have been a 3 vote versus 3 votes, so it unfortunately was not winnable at all. As our protagonist said, the big flaw was that he tried to use his outsider status to avoid being part of the games entirely. And as we're seeing from the fact we can't go back nor go past or in any way avoid the town, it seems we're caught up in this in some vague fashion that we don't know about yet. If I went about a bit better, perhaps I could get a better ending. Hisako Mamiya, Yudai Hashimoto, Kanzo, Yoshitsugu, Takumi, the old man who cried wolf, Chikamochi, Rikako, Kaori, Kinosuke, Meiko. Even Yasunaga, Tei, and Haru were just victims of this strange superstition. But I, Haruka, could not delude myself. I was no hero. I have no powers or convictions. I was just a dilettante. Now there's a word you don't see every day. A person who takes up art, activity, or subject for amusement. A dabbler, basically. Especially in a desultory or superficial way. Yeah, that's not a word I see every day, that's for sure. But I guess it makes sense. My only motivation here was a seek of perfectionism. I was annoyed at how many mistakes I'd made the first time around. Plus, there was a certain attraction I felt toward the unknown. It's an urge foundational to my being. Yeah, he kinda... Yeah, our hero is kind of the king of fuck around and find out, isn't he? And boy, is he good at finding out, huh? And I'd be risking my life on its behalf. I wasn't about to pretend I was acting for the sake of others here. Although, Chamie... Though she hated her childhood home, and it remained part of who she was, I wanted to keep that from being tarnished with blood. Yeah, plus impression she gave before is that she, to some degree, knew she was already a Yomi, or in some way corrupted there. And it seems like that was even before the final day. Odd. That motive was perverse, forceful, selfish, lustful, filthy, and I couldn't let myself forget any of that. Well, I mean, as long as you're aware of that, that's fine. I remember the names of those I'd meet and what I'd had to do. I turned the key, opened the throttle, pushed the signal to the left, and connected the clutch. Away I went, starting with a right turn.
しばらくしたら陸橋があっから渡れ。最初の分岐のとこに大岩があっからそこを右折してあとは直線。
Yeah, we still haven't found out about this mysterious gas station attendant. You'll find an overpass soon enough. Cross it. When you come for the fork and the next to a giant boulder, turn right and head straight. I quickly came across it. I clearly remembered this overpass. The large boulder wasn't new to me either. But I won't take that route this time. I kept driving, not lowering my speed for a minute. Full speed ahead. I drove on the winding mountain path. Strangely enough, my fatigue, though present, wasn't too bad, and my head was perfectly clear. I knew which route to take without even looking at my copy of the map. Or maybe I'd driven through here before. I don't know if that's to hint at that this loop might have been going on for a while already, or because I already got the bad endings. Because I do know some text has already varied based on whether or not I got the silly death endings. Perhaps this wasn't the first choice I'd made, but one of many. I couldn't be sure, since my memories were so incomplete and nothing was certain. Still, they'd be an asset in the fight ahead. I wasn't going into this unarmed. I could no longer see the moon. If those memories hold true, the rain would begin soon.
ここまでよ。
End of the line.
あれだ。大将、前に動画配信可能範囲のお知
Already?
らせ機能をオンにしただろ。
Oh dear. You know what I mean, right? You set the upload streaming limit alert message on,
今
didn't
の
you?
はそれだ。つまり、動画配信が可能なのは、このチャプターまでだ。
Well, this is it. I mean, you can only upload videos reaching up to this chapter.
正確にはこの後、選択肢が出るまでは大丈夫だから、ぼちぼち挨拶やら何やらの準備をしといてくれ。
Well, you can actually go up to the choice that pops up after this, so prepare your goodbyes and stuff. I drove in darkness, but I could... Alright, so we got a little longer. I wasn't aware it would be this soon, but I guess I should have realized it. The vague opening there mentioned that this would be up to what would basically amount to the opening chapter. To the, main route, basically. And we just completed one of the main routes. But that's fine. We'll keep going up to the next one like he promised here. And I'll basically end by giving my speculation, and then I'll switch to another game. You know, just to be fair. I will, of course, be finishing it on my own, but I see no reason not to respect the promise I made when they asked me to respect it. So again, we're going to be to the path swap coming up here to speculate. The road wasn't wide, but I decelerated and somehow managed a U-turn. There were no other cars, so no one would complain. I returned and looked at the sign. It said that driving ahead would have led me to Kachiara, while by turning right, I'd find myself in
ようや
Fujiyoshi.
くか。
Finally. It was already past midnight, but actually earlier than I thought. A 30-minute drive from this point would lead me to Fujiyoshi, or rather Kami Fujiyoshi, a place not too popular among Yasumizu's people, because remember, Yasumizu was a town of rejects, where Kami Fujiyoshi sent people they just didn't like or had no better use for. So this is it here. Not too much further, but the fact this has a lot of keys implies to me that there is a lot more going on here we need to learn before we're allowed to enter. Now, I'm gonna still take a bit, because I still have a bit of speculation I was going to wait for, because I was under the impression we'd running into everyone, but that's perfectly fine. Now, the main thing I wonder, if we're able to save the journalist here... Generally, the game of Werewolf changes the number of wolves based on the number of humans playing, because if there's one human but like 15 people, if there's like one wolf but 15 humans, that's a bit of a tricky one. The game flat out demands non-streamer endings. I wouldn't say demand, it's more like it asks that for respect here. However, and like I said, I saw no reason not to go through it. I mean, I've played Toho games before, and the Toho games ask you that you not stream or upload videos of the, of anything past the gameplay. So you can show up the final boss and winning, but you're not supposed to show the ending cutscenes and all that. And I haven't done any Toho games, but I'd be fine respecting those, and I'll be doing that here as well. Again, nothing forces me to do this, nothing's requiring it. I am choosing entirely of my own volition. Still, well, yeah, well, the wolves actually being the good guys is a plot twist that actually makes a lot of sense with how it was explained. I still think there's a lot of details missing, because that seems a bit too simple. And I can't, like I said, I'm a bit amused that we keep seeing stuff of 3 wolves, including the 3 eye marks, yet there was only 2 in the game, which is why I brought up that some games of Werewolf or Mafia will change the number of villains based on the number of total humans playing. So if we manage to keep enough people alive, they might actually have to add another one because, it's how they handle it. Even Among Us will scale the number of imposters based on how many players you have. If a bigger lobbies requires more imposters, or else people won't die fast enough for the time limit to be an issue. Because I have to remember, the wolves and the villains are basically all on a time limit. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the 3 wolves marker means that we're going to have a game that has 3 wolves this time, especially since the 2 journalists means we're basically going from 13 people to 15, and finding 2 among that is a bit easier. And of course, we know it's a bit. We still don't know much about Mako. We just know that she's a mysterious girl that showed up and doesn't even remember her own. All she vaguely mentioned, was that her town was wiped out and she was the only one who was left behind. So she doesn't have anywhere else to go. Now, there are some more broad strokes here, like it could be that everyone involved here already died from something and is part of this game because we're already, but I think that's a little too simple. It's actually an afterlife thing feels a bit too simple, so I think there's a bit more to it than that, especially since yeah, like I said, especially since I think there's no way that I think there's a lot more to it than just the wolves were actually the good guys all along. I mean, like I said, those are not exactly from a biased source. The wolves absolutely need to justify why they'd be doing what they want. Which of course explains why Yasu is probably the one who convinced his brother to go out and try and fight the wolves, corrupted wolves outside after dark, because he knew that would get him killed. And remember, the wolves were under the impression that each person killed was effectively saving their life. Likewise, we know Rikako's weakness. Rikako even mentioned that he'd fall susceptible to the corruption if it meant protecting the child, and indeed, they made her do something that would cause her to fall corruption. I should probably actually change the stream title here. Let's see here. Yeah, Makeor's. Now, this does also give out the main idea. It could be our character. Forward to this one. I am too. I was too. I'll be doing it on my own time, and perhaps it's a good that I have some games that I do on my own without necessarily having to stream, especially with how much my voice can give out during a VN. Ah well. But the good news is, oh yeah, there's one last thing I should bring up. Another thing is that it was mentioned that not all the head families of Kami Fujiyoshi are represented in there. So, and also that not all of them are people who are currently heirs. Like Yasu and his family were disowned from it, as was Chikamochi. They were all part of Nisato's family, but disowned either from marriage or from something else entirely, or possibly even willingly. We didn't hear the full story that led to it. We just have vague ideas. So it's possible that our character is a long-lost descendant of one of them, and Mako could be as well. And that's why basically the mountain itself, fate, whatever you want to call it, is effectively forcing everyone together to play this game. So I'm definitely feeling that everyone involved is a lot more involved than one might think. Even the journalists might have a special connection to here beyond just being a pair of foodies trying to get some internet fame. It's a town of rejects, but there's a lot of... And as we found out, even our main character seems to have a degree of that, since he insists... We don't know if it's true, but every time he says it, he insists it's because he's trying to get away from home because he had a really rough breakup with his last girlfriend. And indeed, he's been saying that in different contexts, so I don't think he's lying. Yeah, but that could just be yet another thing that led to it. Between his breakup and Mako losing her home and her escaping her lost home, something is absolutely pulling these people together to play this game, and I don't think it's as simple as the mountains getting revenge. But then again, that could still be overthinking it. Well, overthinking it is why I kind of wanted to throw away the everyone already died and this is just an afterlife game of some kind. And that feels like it's a bit too. It's not impossible, but like a murder mystery with the butler did it, a person with free access to every area and would not seem out of place at any point, being a bit too easy. That feels like too easy of a solution. Don't get me wrong, the Yomi underworld is definitely involved to some degree, as well as the guardian deities of it, but I definitely think there's at least one detail being left out, and that's kind of a major thing to. That's kind of a major thing that's got my thoughts going for a bit. Yeah, hopefully it was still a good amount. Hopefully those who watched enjoyed. It was pretty neat seeing the main, at least what was the main story path, and we at least managed to get ourselves a full ending here, and as well as clearly seeing exactly what screwed us along the whole way, and exactly how the characters were able to do it. Like I imagine, after it was mentioned, Granny Tai was able to use guns. That's probably how she was able to take out someone like Takumi, a character who's stronger than anyone else by a long shot. Granted, our character still is going to have some trouble going through here because, again, pretty much everyone except Shamey has trouble trusting him. And if the wolves are shifted around, even if it's... I doubt they're going to have the same ones again, or else it'd be a bit too easy. Same with the other roles, like the seer, the snake, or the guard, or... not crow, the spider. The crow is the person who determines if a person killed by the humans was a wolf or not. So... I'm going to guess things are going to be shifted around for some of these paths. And like I said, they might even add a third wolf, both to match the threes that are going on, as well as the fact that we're probably going to be able to at least save the journalist this time, now that we have proof. Probably why I doesn't want to streaming it. Whether or not random is not spoiler changes. You know what? That could very well be part of it, yeah. Because like I said, if the time loop was just, okay, just use our knowledge to say, hey, I've somehow got knowledge of a past... of a parallel timeline where these guys were it. We hang them, boom, it's over. Nah, that's way too easy. It's never going to be that easy. So we're basically probably going to be playing at least another one of these games. I can see the future. Indeed. So yeah. Alright, so yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about this as a whole, although I apologize for making it so short. If I knew this was going to be where... If I'd remembered this was going to be where it would cut off, either I would have sliced the previous VOD in half so this would be a bit longer, or I would have simply added this last bit onto the last one, if only so we could laugh at a few more deaths before having to say goodbye. But I hope you all enjoyed. This game is currently available on Steam. That's where I'm playing it right now. But for anyone who's interested, I'll be playing it on my own to see how it goes. This will be nice having... Go on. I'll probably switch to another game in a bit, but for now, if you're watching the VOD on YouTube, this is where I'm going to be ending it here. So until next time, thank you for watching, hope you had a good time, and I'll see you later.